A single tiny box sits inside a massive delivery truck. This small package blocks an entire city street during the morning rush. Small choices create very large consequences. We used to wait days for things to arrive. Now we expect them to appear in just a few hours. This shift changes how our cities actually function every day. Large warehouses used to sit far outside the city limits. Goods moved in bulk on heavy trucks once a week. This system kept the local streets relatively quiet. Demand for speed forced these warehouses to move closer to us. They are now tucked into neighborhood corners and old basements. Space is now the most expensive resource. Every time we click for a fast delivery, a vehicle starts its engine. Instead of one full truck, we now see 10 small vans. Efficiency at the door creates friction on the road. Most of these vans are not even full. They carry air and a few urgent items to meet a deadline. This empty space is a hidden cost of our speed. Our streets were built for people and personal cars. They were never designed to be mobile sorting centers for thousands of individual packages. The infrastructure is feeling the pressure. Curbside space has become a battlefield. Delivery drivers must find a spot quickly to stay on schedule. They often have no choice but to double park and wait. This constant stopping and starting wears down the asphalt. Heavy delivery traffic causes more damage than thousands of regular passenger cars combined. Maintenance costs are rising. Cities are now trying to redesign their entire maps. They are creating special zones just for unloading goods. These changes take away space for parks and wider sidewalks. The just-in-time model means businesses no longer keep extra inventory. They order exactly what they need for that specific day. Everything is constantly moving. When a supply chain is this tight, any delay is a disaster. One traffic jam can stop a store from selling its main products. The system has become incredibly fragile. People used to plan their shopping trips once a week. Now they might place 3 separate orders in a single day. Each order triggers a new journey. This behavior creates a last-mile problem for logistics companies. Delivering to 1,000 different homes is much harder than delivering to one big store. Costs go up. To stay profitable, companies must hire more gig workers. These independent drivers use their own vehicles to fill the gaps in the delivery network. Traffic grows even more. Every second saved for the customer costs the city in fuel and air quality. Vehicles idling in traffic release more emissions than those moving at a steady pace. Convenience is rarely free. We simply pay for it through different channels like taxes for road repairs. We also pay with the time we lose in traffic jams. Data centers track every movement to shave off a few minutes. Algorithms decide which route is the fastest for 100 different drivers at once. Everything is optimized. This optimization pushes traffic into quiet side streets that were once safe for children. The algorithm does not care about the neighborhood. It only cares about the clock. We are trading our shared public spaces for private doorstep convenience. This transaction is happening every hour of every single day. Most of us do not even notice. Local shops are also struggling to compete with this level of speed. They cannot stock every item a customer might want at a moment's notice. The landscape changes. Some cities are testing small robots to solve the last-mile problem. These machines roll along sidewalks to avoid the heavy traffic on the main roads. New challenges appear. Now the sidewalk is just as crowded as the street. Pedestrians must share their walking space with delivery machines and parked scooters. Mobility becomes more complicated. We often forget that every digital click has a physical weight. The weight is carried by someone or something through our shared environment. This is the reality of speed. Economics is often about these invisible trade-offs. We get the item faster, but the system around us becomes more stressed. This balance is hard to maintain over time. Following these economic shifts helps us understand the world better. You can subscribe to see how other hidden systems shape our daily lives. Learning continues with every example. The final stage of this process is the waste we cannot see. Millions of cardboard boxes end up in recycling centers every day. The volume is constantly growing. To manage this, more trucks must come to take the waste away. This creates a secondary loop of traffic that most of us never think about. The cycle repeats itself. Efficiency in one part of the system often creates a mess in another. We have optimized the shopping experience, but not the physical world that supports it. This gap is widening. A city is a complex organism that needs balance to survive. Every new van is like a small pulse in a system that is already running at full speed. We are testing the limits. The street is now quiet as the final delivery of the day is made. Dozens of vans sit parked and waiting for tomorrow's first click. The cycle is ready to begin again. Real estate prices in the city are reacting to these logistics needs. Ground floor spaces once used for cafes are now mini distribution hubs. This changes the social fabric. When delivery drivers struggle to find parking, they often use bike lanes. This forces cyclists into the main flow of traffic. Safety becomes a major economic concern. Public transportation also feels the impact of this congestion. Buses move slower when delivery vehicles narrow the available road space. Timetables are harder to maintain today. We are moving toward a city designed for throughput rather than dwelling. Streets are treated like data pipes. The goal is simply to move more units per hour. To keep up with the pace, delivery workers often have to walk fast. They carry heavy loads upstairs and through long hallways. Human energy is the final engine. Inside buildings, mailrooms are overflowing with these daily shipments. Sorting and storing these items takes up common space meant for residents. The burden is shifted inward. The cost of delivery is often hidden in the price of the item. We feel like we are getting a bargain when shipping is free. Someone still pays. If a delivery fails, the vehicle must return another day. This doubles the energy used for a single, small item. Redundancy is the enemy of this fast system. Cities are now experimenting with cargo bikes to replace large vans. These bikes can navigate narrow streets and park more easily. They represent a return to smaller scale. However, one cargo bike cannot carry as much as one large van. This means we need even more riders on the road at the same time. The trade-offs continue. Every new solution introduces a new set of physical constraints. We are constantly adjusting the dials of our urban machine to find a perfect balance. Perfection remains elusive. Small neighborhoods are now being asked to host large logistics hubs. These buildings produce noise and traffic that change the character of the local community. Resistance is growing. The delivery economy relies on a massive amount of invisible labor. People are working around the clock to ensure that our morning orders arrive by noon today. When we order something, we rarely think about the fuel required. Each gallon burned contributes to the warming of our shared urban heat islands. Temperatures are rising. To combat this, some companies are switching to electric fleets. These vehicles are quieter and do not produce direct emissions on our neighborhood streets. Progress is visible. But electric vans still take up the same amount of space. They still contribute to traffic jams and wear down the roads with their heavy batteries. Space is fixed. Some experts suggest that we should return to local pickup points. Walking to a locker nearby is much more efficient than a van driving to your door. Habits must change. But we are biologically wired to prefer the path of least resistance. The convenience of the doorstep is a very powerful incentive to ignore the larger costs. Nature is stubborn. Policymakers are now considering congestion fees for delivery vehicles. They want to make the hidden costs of speed more visible through direct pricing and regulation. Change is coming. This might mean that instant delivery becomes a premium luxury once again. Only those willing to pay the full infrastructure cost will use the fastest service. Markets will decide. For the rest of us, waiting an extra day might become the standard again. This small delay could save billions in road repairs and city health costs every year. Patience is valuable. We must remember that every system is a series of interconnected choices. When we change one part, we inevitably change everything else in the entire network. Everything is linked. Tomorrow morning, the first clicks will happen again. Millions of small boxes will begin their journey from warehouses to your front door through the crowded city streets. The cycle continues. We are the ones who drive this engine with our daily preferences. Understanding these costs is the first step toward building a more resilient and functional city. Knowledge is power. We can choose to wait, or we can choose to pay the full price of speed. Either way, the physical world will always demand an answer to our questions. Reality is firm. The next time you see a van blocking your path, remember the invisible chain. Each link represents a decision we made for convenience over the shared common space. Everything is connected. The future of our cities is currently being written by our shopping carts. Every purchase is a vote for how we want our shared streets to look and feel. We are the authors. The machine of speed is always running, but we have the power to slow it down. A slightly slower world might be a much healthier place for everyone to live. Balance is possible. For now, the boxes continue to arrive at our doors every day. The streets remain crowded, and the system stays under constant pressure as we prepare for the next order. The tension remains.